years, at some point, you realized you were married into crazy.
And that's what our podcast is all about. We offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as we unpack this crazy thing called marriage.
So sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
All right, let's go.
Oh my goodness. Welcome to episode 84 of Married into Crazy with Snooks and Levy. I'm Levy.
I'm Snooks.
And if you're watching our YouTube feed, Snooks was just cracking up. She gets mad at me because we've been doing this for almost 2 years, and I've kind of forgotten like our intro to a certain extent.
Oh my God.
And I'm the one that wrote all of it, and she just looks at me, she's like, you don't do it right, you don't do it right. And this is like the third take for tonight, because I recorded over the intro. I erased half of our intro. Thank goodness for technology. When you hit the undo button, you're able to undo all of your mistakes.
Well, the funny thing is that Lovey is like, he point at me and he tells me, like, say my part, even though you can't hear it because the intro is playing. But I'm like, you don't even know your part.
I know my part. I wrote it. That's what I always say too. I know my part. I wrote it. But
anyway.
I did forget. Wouldn't it be nice though, if, like relationships, if there was a way to hit the undo button? Not undo the relationship, but
like,
when you make a mistake,
really?
when you sit there and you say something like, "Ooh, why did I say that? I knew I told myself not to say that, and then I said it. Oh, well, hold on a second, babe," and then hit the undo button, and then that way it goes back to, I never said it.
That's like that movie, Prince of Persia. When he pushed the button on the knife with the sand, and it reversed and it rewound, and no one knows that happened except for the person who pushed the...
That's what I need. I need one of them knives.
Yeah.
So I can do that.
Too bad it's fiction.
Right? Oh, I know.
Oh, anyway, I'm Snooks. I don't think you said Lovey.
I did.
Did I? Did you?
I know I did.
Oh, maybe you started talking before
See,
I said.
Snooks had a birthday this past week. She's gotten a little bit older, and they say that memory's the first thing to go.
Wow, is that what they say?
That's what I say.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, she forgot that she already did the intro.
You heard him.
In all seriousness, know that it would be great if there was an undo button for certain things like taxes. Mm-hmm. We're going to get into this, what would have been tax season this week. The taxes have been, the turn-in date have been extended all the way through the middle of July.
Really?
Yep. And so today, when this was actually being released, the 15th of April or 16th of April, thereabouts, is generally tax day where you have to have everything turned in. And I want to come back to that in just a little bit. But first, I want to remind everybody that if you're listening to us on Apple Podcast, please, please, please go ahead and hit that button for subscribe. But then also, make sure you leave us a little bit of a review.
Right.
Snooks always wants 5 stars. I just want what we're due.
5 stars.
5 stars. But in all seriousness, we're still in the midst of the coronavirus shelter in place across the United States. No, it's different depending upon where you may live. But we live in California, which has been hit pretty severely. Not near as bad as New York. But there's a lot of places that have been impacted, on varying scales. And we think that there's consequences that people don't speak about. Everybody knows about the virus. Mm-hmm. They know about the symptoms of COVID-19. They know that death for some individuals with, pre-existing conditions to a certain extent, it's had some severe implications across the board. One thing that people don't talk about enough is depression, or people being at home. Some very real consequences have arisen as a result of all of us being sheltered in place.
I think it was a couple weeks ago or a couple of podcasts ago. There was an episode that was called "Don't Blame It on the Rona." So, and we kind of talked about bad behavior that has come out or has surfaced because of the shelter in place and being with each other all the time. So one thing that has been coming up over and over and over again is the domestic violence that people have been, women and men have been suffering because of the shelter in place. So
Right.
that's something that we take very seriously, or I take it kind of personal, or whatever.
I do too. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, right. You acting like,
No,
okay,
no, not really. And it's not funny, but so I just, doing our part, I just want to really put phone numbers out there for anyone who's listening to us, or that is experiencing this, or someone that's experiencing it. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is 800-799-7233. And then there's another number, Domestic Violence Helpline. That's 866-834-4357. And also, like Lovey was saying about some people may be experiencing depression, there's a suicide helpline also. National Suicide Prevention, 800-273-8255. And you'll talk about.
Well, there's all these issues are very important, near and dear to us. But I just want to call out, I want to ask for special prayer. I know there's a lot of people that are affected across the United States, but I can only speak to what I know or what I've seen. And there is, unfortunately, a young lady that has been in the national news. Her name is Joviani Smith. Remember her name. Say her name, because she's a young lady that was 15 years old that committed suicide as a result of not being able to handle shelter in place. This happened close to our home. As a matter of fact, one of the young ladies that I coach for volleyball is a classmate and a friend of the young lady that has passed. And this one hit kind of close to home because we have little cousins that have actually gone to this high school. They've graduated since, but I know the volleyball coach that goes to that school. Apparently, I also have a player that attends that high school. But this happened, and when I saw it at first, I was like, "Wow, that is really sad." And then dawned on me that her age and dealing with the repercussions of being shut in place. Some people, we talk about DISC a lot. The different personality traits, and this is not a pitch for DISC, so keep listening. This is about the different traits and how you deal with certain things. Mm-hmm. There's certain individuals that have a preference or a tendency to work or to deal with certain things. There's the D, the I, the S, the C, and each one deals with situations differently. And you have some individuals that are introverts, and you have some people that are extroverts. Some people that are very outgoing, extroverted, you put them in a situation where we're saying, okay, now we're going to shut down, 90% of who you are, of what you're all about, your identity that you've had. You shut that down, and it can have some repercussions. And unfortunately, her mother said on national news, and it's in a lot of print as well as on the news, that there were no signs. She was very outward going, very loved, and a very outgoing personality, and they did not see this coming. And I say that because check on the person next to you. Check on that individual. Generally, the person that you think doesn't need to be checked on, check on them. And know these numbers and share them freely. Put it in your Instagram. Put it in your Facebook, all your social media. Make sure that people know that they have resources and they have people that they can speak to help them through this terrible time. It's not just about the loss of jobs. It's not just about the loss of restricted ability to go places, do things, hang out with your friends. This is about, for many of us, the loss of a component of your personality. And that can be devastating, as being seen with, God rest her soul, Joviani, and some of these individuals that are creating tensions within your homes, and with the amount of domestic disturbances or violence that's increasing as well. So we just want to put that out there. I know it's a little heavy to start with, but it's one of those things that I think needs to be spoken out about more often. And
I feel I just felt very compelled to just put those phone numbers out there, because there are people that are suffering in silence. And like I said, if you are one of them, I hope you got the numbers. I'll say them again at the end of our podcast. But also, or if you know someone who's is in this situation, they need help. So if it's you, get help, and we'll give the numbers again.
And to be honest with you, if you're hearing our voice right now, via the podcast or you're watching on YouTube, know this, that we are advocates for you.
Right.
We want to help you through a variety of things. So if you want to reach out via text, email, Zoom, whatever, we're here for you. We can help put you in touch with the right people in your area, wherever you may live, so that way we can assist. We'll give the alley-oop every opportunity we can, but the bottom line is we want you to be taken care of. And be safe. There's no need to suffer in silence or in solitude. It's one of those things where you have a host of people out here that care about you, that love you, that want to see you get through this and continue to live a blessed life. At the end of every single podcast, we always say, be blessed. And we really mean that. We want you to be blessed. And in order to do that, that means that sometimes you got to reach out for help. So we just wanted to share that with you.
Yeah.
So moving back on to how do you transition from that? But so this was, I mentioned earlier that this was going to be tax season. And so in every single tax season, why do you not want to be taxed?
What?
Well, not taxed. I guess that's the wrong way of saying it. Audited.
Why do you not want to? I was about to say.
Well, during tax season.
Because you got to pay money? Okay.
No, but I mean, okay, so what are you afraid of? Okay, do your taxes. Why do you do your taxes? Because you don't want the IRS to come after you, right?
Right, because maybe you felt like you paid $1 gazillion throughout the year, and then here they come, and they're saying, give me more money.
True.
But I paid my due. Well, you owe more. So now give it to us. Oh, and guess what? If you don't give it to us, we're going to take it. And we're going to take as much as we want to take.
When we want to take it.
How often we want to take. Yeah, and if we only leave you with $5 for the rest of the 30 days, for you state workers who only get paid once, then hey, so be it. You figure it out.
That sounds like divorce. I'm going to take your money. I'm going to take whatever I want because I feel like it's due. Why are you smiling at the camera?
Hey, I'm just saying, don't act up.
Goonie goo goo. Half.
I'm not going to get half. We've been over this already. I'm going to take it all. I'm taking everything.
Well, the reason why we bring that up is because what we wanted to do is, even though people do their taxes, and first off, let me just say that you should proudly pay your taxes because, I mean, you're blessed with the opportunity to do that, whether it's your job, or I'm not going to get in my soapbox, but... Yeah,
please.
No, but it's one of those things where...
We don't want people to turn it off.
I know, right? He said, I should be happy about my taxes. Click. Now, what it is, people don't want to be audited, right? Because they always say, you got to make sure. When you talk to your tax person or you're doing your taxes like TurboTax or whatever you're using at home, either be yourself, using a CPA, or you have a tax guy that does it, or tax gal that does it.
I'm not offended, so.
But when somebody's doing this for you, they always look for red flags, right? To ensure that you're not going to get flagged by the IRS, and they don't want you to get in trouble.
Because that's what they say, well, we got to make sure, because you don't want to get audited, or if you do get audited, we have to be able to explain blah, blah, blah. So.
But that's the whole purpose for keeping, 7 years worth of documents?
Something like that.
Yeah, so you want to keep all those just in case you are audited, and make this this fearful thing about getting audited. Well, we wanted to do something a little bit different. We wanted to actually have you look forward to doing an audit, but not for taxes. The audit we're looking at is we wanted to create something that was free, that can assist people in your relationships, in your marriage, in your relationship with other individuals. So what we did was we created a relationship audit. It's a relationship self-audit, quite honestly, and it's something that is available absolutely free right there on the front page of marriedintocrazy.com. And it doesn't cost you a thing, and there's no ploy. It's not like when you get it, it's not gonna be like, oh, gotcha.
You should.
Oh, so yeah, go ahead and shut. If you're looking at YouTube, there's a quick picture of it. Anyway, it's a 2-page document. There's instructions.
Sorry, people.
So there's instructions where Snooks just took it from me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And so what you can do is
I'm not sorry.
Download this, and it gives you an opportunity to do an audit on yourself. This has absolutely nothing to do with what you think of the other individual.
Right, that's very key too, because a lot of times when it's like, we're going to do an audit, huh? Oh, and you
don't
did
do
that wrong.
Right.
Oh, you get a 0 there. That needs improvement. And it's like, no.
So it's going to be pretty simple. where you just do, in order to do the self-audit, it's going to, I'm going to have Snooks actually go down and read this.
Oh.
So, read that part right there.
Which one?
The middle paragraph right there.
The terms on the next page, needs improvement, average, good, etc., are subjective measurements but should be applied with the following in mind. How would I rate my behavior if I observed the same traits or tendencies in someone dating my son or daughter?
So we put that there to put a little spin on it. So when you're actually evaluating yourself, it's not like, oh, I don't want you to gauge this as, oh, well, I'm gonna rate myself a little bit higher, or I want to be like this, even though I know I'm like this instead. But I'm working towards this. I'm gonna give myself a check in the higher box. It's not that at all. So that's why we said, rate this as if the tendencies, the preferences, the behavioral traits that you find. Is this something that, how would you rate it if the person was dating your child?
Right.
Check that box, but you're rating yourself. So here's the thing. So the interesting thing about this is that there's going to be 5 columns, and it's crazy. Each one of them stand for a component of crazy.
So the C is for compassionate, the R is for real, the A is for accountable, the Z is for zealous, and the Y is for yielding.
And there's going to be a series of check marks underneath each one of these. So you're going to rate yourself.
So it starts at the lowest is needs improvement, average, good, great, and phenomenal.
And there's going to be some definitions on the page to explain what each of those actually means. Not so much needs improvement, average, good, great, because it's going to be relative.
Like they should already know what those are.
For the most part, you know what great looks like. You know what needs improvement looks like. For instance, if it comes to compassionate, and compassionate means feeling or showing sympathy and concern for others.
So how well would you rate yourself, if you're being honest or real, if in that category?
Do you need improvement?
Are you compassionate towards your spouse, to their situation, or for their time? I mean,
and for those of you that aren't married, that are in a relationship, or for those of you that are listening to the podcast, there's quite a few of you that say you like the podcast and you're listening for, to gather some insight for down the road. Mm-hmm. Well, you can also use this.
You can still use that
to rate yourself in some of the most important relationships that you have right now.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, it says for a relationship audit. It didn't say specifically for a married couple. It could be for how you are with your coworker, or just everyone that you have a relationship with. Basically, we all have relationships with the people that we come into contact with on a consistent basis, and there are different what is that? Levels. Oh, that's not the word I was looking for, but yeah, each relationship is different. So how I treat Lovey, or how I am my relationship with Lovey, of course, is going to be different from the FedEx guy that I see all the time.
I hope so. I'm really hoping that the relationship you have with the FedEx guy is different from the relationship with me. I'm going to have to check dude out now. I'm going to be like, okay, so
okay,
which one of my kids look like you? I'm like,
Maybe I should have said that.
If I see the FedEx guy walking away from here with an audit, if he's got our self-audit, I'm going to be mad. I'll be like, oh, why he need to take the audit?
Here, take this. No, but you know what I'm saying. The people, I mean, there are people that I see all the time who I do business with, and my relationship with them. How do I treat that person? How do I, when they're having a bad day, or if I have to wait for a long time? They're just different degrees. That's the word I was looking for. There are different degrees that you can utilize this. It's not just strictly for the romance part. It's for everything. It
is. It's for every aspect of your life. And so, to be honest with you, there is a little thing you got to do. On the front page, you just got to click a button. I forgot to say that part. Just click the button, and then you can actually, it's right there on our very front page of marriedandcrazy.com. And all you have to do is, if you don't already have an account with us, just fill it out real quick. It's just like email, name, and then it'll open up for you. And there's a tab that's only open to those individuals that do that create an account. And that window will open up so you can then download this. It's very straightforward and easy. If you have difficulties for whatever reason, feel free to give us a call. Not call. Feel free to reach out to us via email. Right? But it's interesting. So if you think about it, we've talked about it in the past where crazy means, like she said, compassionate, real, accountable, zealous, and yielding.
It's so funny because we know what those are, but we had to read them.
Oh, I know, right?
I was like, why am I reading this? I already know what it is, but I felt like I wanted to make sure I got it right.
So as it relates, think about this, even here on the podcast, think about this. Needs improvement, average, good, great, phenomenal. So we said compassionate, which is feeling or showing sympathy and concern for others. Real is not an imitation or artificial, genuine, proper. Accountable is required or expected to justify actions or decisions, or responsible.
Zealous, great energy or enthusiasm in pursuit of a cause or an objective. And yielding, complying with the requests or desires of others. So I'm telling you right now, Lovey's not very compassionate about when you said about the podcast. Because right before the podcast, I've said this before, he is a bear. I'm just like, dude, I mean, you slow down and you need to calm down.
Well, let's keep it real. I was already thinking that, okay, if I was to take my own relationship audit right now, I would know that, let's talk about it.
Let's talk.
So when it comes to the C for compassionate, I would be average, probably needs improvement. I would think I need improvement.
I think it's situational because there are times when he is just above and beyond, just like very compassionate. Like I'm just going to say yesterday. So yesterday was Easter. And, you know, since we're doing the shelter in place, we've been having church online. And I think, you know, I'm a mama's girl. I'm very, very close to my mother. I talk to my mom all the time. And so yesterday was like one of the first Easters, probably in a long, long time, that we didn't have dinner together or whatever. So I'm at the table. I was finishing up my homework, and I'd been feeling some kind of way all day already. And so Lovey's like, you know, what's going on? Are you okay? And I just started to cry. And he was like, what is wrong with you? And I was like, I miss my mom, blah, blah, blah. And I know he was like, oh, brother. But he's like, Snooks, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, he's very comforting and he's very compassionate about my feelings at that time. But I think you show that type of, probably because he knows this is my mom. We don't play around with Linda. But I was, you know, like I said, I was just feeling some kind of way. It was gray outside. And when it gets gray, I get gray a lot. But I miss my mom. And I know that I probably felt bad too because my family is here. All of our kids are here. Our grandson is here. And my mom is by herself. You know, she's at home alone. And I had talked to her. We did church. I saw her. I talked to her earlier, but it was not the same. And it was just not, I was like, no, I want my mom to come over for dinner. But of course, you are not going to make fun of me. But so I will say he's phenomenal at the C.
Sometimes.
Situational. I was just giving
giving you
accolades.
Thank you. I appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
Now, fast forward to later in the evening when Snooks decides at 11:30 at night that it was time to play.
Snooks decided?
Well,
I decided by myself.
We said we were going to play a game, like a family game night. We were going to break something out, and they wanted to play.
Everybody wanted to play Uno except for Lovey. I don't say everybody. I didn't really care what we played, but Lovey was dead set against playing Uno. I don't want to play Uno.
I beat them both. I won the last 2 times. I'm like, I need a different challenge. I was like, hey, winner needs to pick.
That's very cocky, but okay.
No, that's very truthful.
So,
but when it came time, she was like, okay, let's play this. She wanted to play Seen It. And she's trying to play Seen It, which requires a huge setup. And then she didn't remember how to play it, so she wanted to read the instructions at 11:30 at night.
The only reason that we waited till 11:30 at night is because you were watching The Mandalorian.
Only because you were in there finishing your
I was
paper.
Done with my paper.
But she didn't let anybody know.
See, this is being real.
Right, so real.
Very, very real right now.
I think we both get phenomenal on real. Because we're keeping it real right now.
Keeping it real. Putting it all out there.
Now, when it comes to accountability or being accountable, the A in crazy.
Let's see. Let's read it again.
Yeah, what's the definition again? The definition is required or expected to justify actions or well, I justify my actions.
I always justify my actions.
I don't think it's meant that way though. I don't think it's meant that way.
Decisions.
I think we're both good.
Responsible.
Well, it's self-audit. I will say I'm good. I'm not great when it comes to accountability. Yeah, we're gonna.
I might be average. I mean, it's situational for me. So if we're gonna do a can we do a rate? What is that? The ratio? What is that called?
A rating?
No, like the average. Let's take an average. We take an average on some stuff. I'm like phenomenal.
How do you forget to say average when you say I want to take the average? You say I'm average, and they're like, "What's that thing called?" When you're like in the middle, in the medium, in the the average. I'm like, but we're talking about average. How do you forget average?
I know. I was thinking
when you're talking about average.
The mean.
Is it's the mean. It's the mean.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah.
Synonym for average is mean. Synonym for mean is average. Anyway, so
wow, you're just on one right now. Okay.
So zealous, great energy or enthusiasm in pursuit of cause. I can rate myself.
Lovey is very phenomenal when it comes to.
Aren't you supposed to rate yourself?
Oh, I forgot.
What are you rating me?
I'm doing like the other people.
See, okay.
I just did what I told y'all not to do.
I'm glad this is on the podcast because this is what you are not supposed to be doing.
You said earlier we both are. Then you said, okay, I can only. Okay, so I made a mistake.
Self-audit.
You made a mistake. Now we're good.
I think I am great.
Great energy or enthusiasm in pursuit of a
cause or an objective. I am great, if not phenomenal. I'd have to teeter on that.
Okay.
You know, but I'm not. But the goal is to be phenomenal, right? So maybe I'm great, and I need to get better when it comes to being more zealous about every aspect of the relationship.
So
go ahead.
Here's the thing, too, though. When you say you're phenomenal about being zealous,
I'm a phenomenon.
Sometimes that zealousness can turn into bullying also. So just be careful of that, people, when you take the audit.
Every superpower can also make you a supervillain. No, I'm just saying.
Really?
Just saying.
Okay, Batman.
So then, what about, you didn't rate yourself on when it comes to zealousness? Or
I think I'm phenomenal. No, I'm great. Great energy. It depends. It's situational. I'm either great or phenomenal.
Well, it's always going to be situational.
I know, but I'm trying to think of, okay.
See, that's you. Okay, I'm knocking you down on accountable. You said average. I'm taking you down to needs improvement. Because you're waffling. It's situational. Every time we say something, it's situational.
Because I'm thinking of like when
Mind
homework.
This is about the relationship, not about your homework.
Oh.
Okay, so folks.
I was just saying about different situations.
Let's go back to the instructions. It says relationship audit instructions. Congratulations on taking the first step to evaluate your relationship.
I know you're ashamed. That's hecka funny.
Okay.
I don't know why I was thinking about homework though.
Okay, because
I'm always thinking about homework.
Homework is all consuming.
So
the last letter of crazy is.
No, let me go back. Let me answer. Zealous. I think I'm great.
Okay. I think it would be fun. Okay, so then yielding. I'm average when it comes complying with the requests and desires of others. I'm average, really working my best to become good, so I can climb that ladder towards phenomenal. But there's times where I think situational.
Situational.
But
how come it's okay for him to be situational, but not me? Did you see that? Okay, go ahead.
I'm just keeping it real. Back to the R. No, so
phenomenal at that. Go ahead.
No, but in yielding, I think that I do yield. I give in a lot, but I think that I can be more accommodating and doing it out of the goodness of my heart, not just doing it because I don't want to hear your mouth. Ooh, so I'm just saying.
Dig.
I said I was phenomenal when it came to being real. So
you're saying that you hear my mouth a lot.
Okay, what about you, Miss Thing?
I think I'm great. I think I yield a lot in our relationship.
Begrudgingly?
I think that I yield. I'm teeter-tottering phenomenal. Actually, I think I am phenomenal. I yield a lot.
You don't yield a lot.
It's a self-audit.
Okay. No, you're right. So this can be found, again, on the very front page of marriedintocrazy.com. And I would highly recommend that you do not do it like us, sitting next to each other.
I was actually going to say, I think that, well, you do yours, like you each have your own paper. So you do yours, he does his, and then you sit and you talk about the answers. Like, okay, Lovey says he's
After
great.
you've already completed it.
Yeah, after you've completed. And then maybe look for some, okay, well, why do you feel like, but don't argue about it, because how you feel is how you feel.
Right. Don't come in and be like, you know what, I think I'm phenomenal when it comes to compassion. Be like, please.
You know what, you was just yelling.
Remember that time you did this, you did this, you did this, you did this? Okay, don't do that. Do not be that person.
Mm-mm. I think that it can be, it's a conversation that you can have about a lot of these areas. And if I say, like, Lovey, you were like, you're almost in need improvement area for, what was it, zealous, whatever one it was, compassion, you're almost in need improvement. So maybe if you think that you need improvement in something, maybe you can have a conversation with your spouse and say, hey, I think I need improvement in this area. So what could I do to be better at compassion in your eyes, or whatever?
Absolutely. This is an absolute freebie. This is something we want to give everyone.
Not to fight about, though.
Right, not to fight about, but to take that first step towards, before you can actually, grow in a relationship, you have to kind of know where you're starting from. It's just like any journey. When you open up your phone and you use GPS, the first thing it does is, you tell it where you want to go, but what does it do? It shows you exactly where you are first.
Mm-hmm.
And then the directions go from where you are to where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And the relationship audit that we're giving away for free is, you open up your relationship GPS, and we're showing you, or you're showing yourself, exactly where you're starting.
Mm-hmm. And I think also, for when you, like, just moving up the ladder, don't try to bypass, like, I'm just going to go from needs improvement all the way to phenomenal. No, take the steps. So needs improvement, just take it one rung or whatever at a time. For you get out, you become average. So, and then you're good, and then you're great, and then you're phenomenal. Because a lot of times when you start trying to
leapfrog,
then you end up crashing.
That's true. You're trying to leap over something that you're not prepared for. So build your legs up.
That's right, because it takes a lot to be phenomenal.
It takes a lot to go from needs improvement to good. You can't just skip over average.
Right. You
got to get there. And it may not feed your ego, but what it will do is build up your relationship.
I was about to say, and it's really not about ego when you're in a relationship anyway, if you're really being real. It's not about saying, oh, I'm so good at this, I'm so good at that. It's about you looking at yourself, self-audit, and saying, hey, this is what I need to work on. This is what needs improvement. Oh, okay, I'm pretty good at this. So how do I become great? How do I become phenomenal? Because at the end of the day, of course, we all want to check phenomenal on everything, but that requires a lot of work. And if you can't maintain that work, that level of work, don't get started. That's like going and lifting 500 pounds one time so you can say, I did it. But if you can't repeat it, what's that?
If you can't repeat it, or you go in there, you lifted it, but then you threw your back out, and
seriously,
your hip hurts and everything else, and then you're completely out of alignment.
You have to be able to replicate.
Yep.
And that's the thing that keeps it going, So you want to keep it going. And just kind of, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, because I think you're getting ready to say something. Are you?
Maybe.
Go ahead.
Go. No, what are you going to say?
No, just thinking about the whole thing about audits and being afraid of them, and taxes and so on and so forth. We pay taxes every time we get paid. We don't just pay unless we're
unless you're Wesley Snipes.
Unless you're exempt.
Man. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
He's a black belt.
I know.
He can find you and fight you.
He ain't listening.
So crazy. But kind of like when we were talking about the reason for the audit is to make sure that everything is in alignment, is aligned in your relationship and in your on your taxes or whatever. There are itemizations, things to check, things to, okay, Do you have this? Do you have that? Oh, did you do this? Did you do that? So do that already. Have it ready in your relationship so that when it comes time for the audit, if we're doing this, when it comes time for the audit, you're not so shocked. Like, what do you mean? You get a letter from the IRS and they say, oh, you underpaid. So you owe X, Y. And so now you're scrambling. Like, I got to fix it. I got to, whatever. Don't let that be your relationship. Don't put it off to the end or not know what's happening, so that way when the relationship, if it's kind of going, so okay, let's adjust this or let's do that. Look at every item in your relationship, like ask on the tax return or
the line items.
Do the itemizations, every line item. You make sure all that stuff is right when it comes to your money. So let's make sure all that stuff is right when it comes to our relationships too.
Ooh, she's spitting fire.
I'm pinching him under the table. He better say it. Now I'm playing.
No, I was being, let's see, where's on the list? I was trying to get some points. I think I got another point for yielding.
Self-serving.
Oh, my bad. Well, there's that. And then, again, this is the first step. And after that, go ahead and since you're already on the website, take the assessment, which is also free, by the way. Go ahead and take the assessment because then you get a 23-page document that's going to help you to start to understand why you do some of the things that you do. This is helping you identify and rate where you are in a relationship as it pertains to being crazy. But then let's get to the whys. And once you start to understand your particular why you do certain things, then it'll help you then continue to build and grow your relationship. So we're all here for you. With this thing right now with coronavirus and even beyond coronavirus, we really want to make sure that we are here for you and we're trying to provide as much value as possible.
Yeah.
That's it. So I think now it's one for the road and one for the shelter in place.
Yeah, there you go. You got it right.
Finally.
Uh-oh.
Go ahead.
Yeah, two left.
Again, we're pulling from the couple's I Can, which gives us these I Can statements, these little affirmations that will help with the relationship.
Okay, mine says I can be more sensitive.
That's not on the list. Mine says, I can plan a surprise. I don't know what kind of surprise I'm going to plan when you got 7 people in a house and we're all tired of looking at each other, but I will try and plan a surprise. Not try.
I will let you know.
It's not the I try can, it's the I can.
That's so. Right, babe. I'm going to write it down on here. Tell what the surprise was on the next podcast.
I surprised her by...
You surprised me.
I don't know. Anyway, it's been a lot of fun.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I don't want to go out on a downer, but we did say we were going to give these numbers again.
Oh, go ahead.
So like we discussed earlier in the show, the National Domestic Violence Hotline number is 800-799-7233. And the Domestic Violence Helpline is 866-834-4357. And the Suicide Helpline, Suicide Prevention, 800-273-8255.
And don't hesitate to use those numbers, because we do care about you.
That's right.
Your family cares about you.
That's right.
There are a lot of people out there that are rooting for you. And don't become a statistic, a really different type of statistic for coronavirus. Right? You're doing what you need to do to not get the virus. Let's make sure we stay healthy even when we're sheltered in place.
Yeah.
So with that said, we want to thank each and every one of you for listening to the podcast. And until the next time, be blessed.
Bye-bye.